Hey guys, I'm all back again. I have been using the Galaxy S23 FE for 6 weeks, and here is my final review on this phone. We'll start off with some of the things that I like. First thing on the list is the price. The list price is $600. You can often get it at $400 or $500 on the Amazon. These phones tend to go on sale pretty often, but I do like the starting price. It is $200 than the brand new Galaxy S24. So even though you're paying less, you're getting a bigger phone than the S24 base model. And second thing I do like is the material. It does feel pretty premium. It looks like the Galaxy S24 and it even feels like the Galaxy S24, but you're paying a lot less than the Galaxy S24. Third thing worth mentioning is the fact that it does have 120Hz refresh rate. A lot of times phone in these mid-range price anywhere from $400 to $600, you would see that they would go with 90Hz refresh rate. For me personally, I can't really tell the difference, or it doesn't really bother me. I don't often stare at my phone like that closely where I would notice all the tiny refresh rates, but it is worth pointing out if you're into that. I do like that the camera on this phone is actually pretty good. It's similar to the base Galaxy S24 as well. I'm currently recording this video using the S23 FE. Over the last month and a half, I have been using this phone as well to record many other videos. And if I did not have this phone, I would just use my Galaxy S20, which is a 4-year-old phone, but 4 years ago, it was worth $1,000. So it is still an excellent phone. And over the years, it haven't really changed that much, to be honest. Performance-wise, this phone feels smooth. You're scrolling around, texting, going to social media, watching videos, playing games. Not going to have any issues there. So solid performance all around. I do like the fact that it does have Samsung DeX built in, even though I haven't really used it this time around. I have used it in the past when I used other Samsung phone, but for whatever reasons, I just either kind of forgot about it or like the idea of it. Sometimes I'm just too lazy to plug in the cable or forget to turn it on. Either way, it still has Samsung DeX. If you're into using the desktop mode, you can connect your phone to the computer and use all your apps, texting, and basically do everything on your phone, but you can do it on your computer instead. I do want to point out that the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5, that phone costs $1,000, and Samsung did not include DeX on that particular phone. So at $600, you're getting a lot of value with the S23 FE. And you get a pretty awesome screen as well. It's pretty much the same screen over the last 4 years. Peak brightness is 1450 nits. It is nowhere close to the 2600 and all these 2000 nits phones out there, or even 3000, 4000. But 1450 is more than enough. I never really have any trouble seeing outside or anything like that. Anything above that is nice to have, but not really necessary. So you can see this phone in the sun just fine, and at night it drops all the way down really dim, which makes it pretty comfortable to read your phone when you're sitting in bed. Alright, before jumping to the things that I don't like about this phone, just want to give a quick shout out to my partner Mint Mobile. They currently offer 5G plans for as low as $15 a month. You do have to buy 3 months up front, but overall they are a great value for the price, so make sure to check them out. Link in the description below. Some of the things I don't like about this phone is the fact that they use a 2-year-old chip. It has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. It would have been nice to see them have the 8 Gen 2, given the fact that this phone just came out in October 2023. And a few months later in 2024 of January, they are using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 on a brand new Galaxy S24. So essentially you're getting a 2-year-old chip with this phone. In general, performance-wise, like I mentioned earlier, I don't really notice any difference in terms of stuttering or just moving around and using random apps. But where I do see that it does struggle a little bit is in the camera. Sometimes when I open the camera, I'm switching between cameras and videos or the different option. It does take a second or two to load. It doesn't happen all the time, but every now and then when I'm in a hurry, I want to take a quick picture of something. If I'm in video mode, I try to switch over to camera. For whatever reason, it is a little jittery here and there. But that's the only place where I do notice the performance does suffer a little bit, but doesn't happen all the time. The bezels are actually pretty thick on the S23 FE. In general, I don't really notice bezels or stare at it, but occasionally, every now and then, the bezels on the FE does catch my attention. Doesn't really bother me or anything like that. Sometimes not really a bad thing having thicker bezels. At one point, Samsung kept making all these curved screen, thin bezels, and as a result of that, your palm kind of touches the edge of the phone and it leads to a lot of accidental touches. So after all these years of curving and bending the phone, now the Galaxy S24, Samsung is going with a flat display. And this Galaxy S23 feels relatively flat as well. Even though it does have some thick bezels, I think it is better practically. But I do want to point that out just in terms of design. Usually the more premium high-end phone, the bezels will get thinner and thinner. But with the FE being a mid-range-ish phone, it does have a thicker bezel. But yeah, I just gotta adjust over time, so I don't think it's that much of an issue. I wish the battery life could be better on this phone. I usually get about 10 to 13 hours of battery life and would need to top it up again towards the end of the day, which is fine. I'm always near chargers, or if I'm sitting at my desk working all day, I'll just leave it on a wireless charger. Then by the end of the day, I'm still going to be 100% charged. So it's not the end of the world, but if I'm out and about doing a lot of things, recording videos, using GPS, driving around, then in that case, I would need to charge it again whenever I have a chance at the end of the day. And this phone does have 4 years of software support, but just because of the fact that it released Android 13 in October, now in January 2024, I do have Android 14, but that does count as 1 year software update. And as a result of that, it's only going to go up to Android 17 at the latest. Not the end of the world. You do have 5 years of security updates in total, so this one's going to last you if you want to keep it for a while. It's just that in the last year or so, you're going to be stuck with Android 17. To be honest, software updates are nice year to year. They don't really change that much just in terms of features or anything that's noticeable or life-changing. So security updates, this is the more important piece, and you're getting 5 years of security updates with the FE. I do wish this phone was a little bit smaller, and this is just a personal preference for me. I think 6.4 is just a tad too big. I do worry about dropping the phone if I have to bend it and tilt it certain ways. I know if I just use a case, I'll have a better grip, but I tend to be a no case guy. I like to use the phone the way it was meant to be designed. But using one-handed keyboard mode has been working pretty well for me. The keyboard is small enough for me to use on one hand, and when I switch hand back and forth is fine. And it's wide enough for me to even type with two hands as well. I guess just because the phone is big enough, I find a way to make it work. Two-hand typing is still comfortable. And the S23 FE is actually heavier than the last fan edition, which was the Galaxy S21 FE. This skipped the S22. But regardless, this is it's like a bigger phone than the base model, and it's also heavier than the previous FE. Guess you do get the bigger battery, screen, and all that, so all those do add the extra weight to it. Finally, with the Galaxy S23 FE, it's just a boring, cheap-ish phone that is reliable. And this series is the lowest. I would go for a Samsung phone that is still going to be fast and reliable. And the A series, I find it to be slow. I don't like the A54 or any of that. So I think the FE is probably the way you want to go if you want to go cheap Samsung phone, mid-range, but you don't want to go too dirt cheap in the $100 range. Those phones are practically unusable. If you can, just save the money, get the FE, because I think there's a lot of great value there. And at the end of the day, if you already have the Galaxy S23 FE, I would just stick with it for now. I wouldn't fork over $800 for the Galaxy S24. The S24 looks nice. They got all these AI mumbo-jumbo marketing buzzwords. Everyone is talking about AI over the last year, but I don't think it is worth the extra price tag. The S23 is pretty reliable and a good price for what it is. Even though it is an older chip, it works fine. My Galaxy S20 from 4 years ago still works perfectly fine. If you are happy with a bigger Galaxy phone, then consider the FE. If you don't need all the extra bells and whistles from the flagship series. And just to make a car comparison, if you literally just want a car that moves, does a good job, and that is it, and that would be the Galaxy S23 FE. You don't necessarily need all the heated steering wheels, the heated back seat. All the extra stuff is always nice, but a luxury is not really necessary and not needed on a day-to-day basis. So that is more of a flagship series, the S24 and all that. But with all that being said, I will actually be switching to the Galaxy S24 just for science purposes. I do enjoy using new phones, testing them, just to kind of play around with it, see the different changes, and if there are any difference on a year-to-year basis. But if I wasn't into testing phone and just using it as a regular normal consumer, I would just get the FE and save the extra few $100. All right, let me know, you guys, if you're going to be switching over to Galaxy S24 FE, or you're just going to be sticking with your fan edition for now and just watch other tech videos like these. I personally enjoy watching videos like these just to get perspective, see what's changing and things like that. And when it's my turn to upgrade, I will make a decision from there based on the best value. And I think the S23 FE is a great value. Alright guys, thank you for watching. As always, please check out my last video if you haven't already. I talked about the OnePlus 12, which is also a really exciting phone. It does cost $800, but you do get some high-end specs there. But I do talk about how it's not going to be successful in the US. So make sure to check that video out if you're interested in learning more about OnePlus. And I also made a video about 7 reasons why you should not switch to the Galaxy S24. So if you're interested in watching that, make sure to check them out as well. Alright guys, appreciate the time as always. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.